Good afternoon and welcome to Phillip Oval, just across the road from the Royal Canberra Hospital for the final game in round 13 of the Ospreakers Canberra Raiders Cup for 2018. It's the Woden Valley Rams, the home side up against the visiting West Belconnen Warriors. Should be an absolute belter. Chris Coleman's my name. Quick preview from the Canberra Raiders Cup. Alongside me from John Croyder. Good afternoon to you, John.
Hi, Chris. Good to be here today. A beautiful day for footy as well.
Sunday afternoon footy. There are a few things better in the world than this. We have a late change for the Woden Valley Rams in their side compared to the advertised program. That is, Kristen Norton comes into the side in jersey 17. There were some other changes announced earlier today. Junior Mwala coming in the 19 jersey and Dan Desmay in the 14. So that's a considerably different bench from what was published in the Rugby League record during the course of the week. The West Belconnen Warriors are, I was going to say 1 through 17 as per program, but it's 1 through 15, then 17 and 22 as per program, because they've got big Livingston Affa in the only jersey that'll fit him, being the number 22, as we've said a few times this season. What are you expecting this Arvo as we see Woden make their way out?
Well, I think it won't be quite as sloppy as we saw in the second half of last week's match of the round. A lot of size on that Westies bench as well. So I'm expecting a good battle of the forwards, especially with Junior Mwala coming into the side for Woden as well.
Should be an exciting game. Woden sit equal fifth at the moment, or coming into this week's game. Let's disregard yesterday's results for the moment. Just go on how things were leading into this round. Woden equal fifth, but a win today will give them the chance to take outright fifth. And I haven't checked whether it'll give them a chance to catapult themselves further up, but it will put a break between them and the Queanbeyan Blues. The West Belconnen Warriors, they're equal first. They're second on points differential at the moment. But again, must win for both sides, but particularly for Woden. They got away with one last week. They were a bit scrappy and a bit sloppy in the second half up against the Gas, but they got away with one, and sometimes that's all it takes to set yourself up for a bit of a run. Yeah,
well, they're already on that run. 6 wins in a row now, I believe. 5 wins and a draw in that. So some very good performances, beating Tuggeranong as well in that run. So they'll just be wanting to keep up that momentum, and they do have a chance to go into fourth because of Tuggeranong beating Yas Magpies yesterday.
So we'll get those results off you in the next break in play, if that's all right, John, before you go off and into your official match photographer duties. But we are underway here at Phillip, and it's the Woden side with first possession of the ball. Beautiful afternoon, have the sun at your back, and I'm suspecting we'll see plenty of kicks over to that far corner when the ball gets to the other end of the field. That's Jeff Morgan. With his first hit up of the day, gets it up to about the 30-metre line before he's brought down. We've got some old rugby union markings on the ground today. It's going to make it a bit of fun for us in a few spots. Brad Martin now on a run, and that's up to the halfway line. So they're making plenty of distance here, the Woden Valley Rams. Hodge gets them into opposition territory, and it's the last tackle. Tyson Flynn, the referee for this afternoon. We see the kick come from Lincoln Withers. A little bit of trivia. I don't think I've ever seen a halfback battle Withers versus Withers, but that's what we've got this afternoon. Lincoln for Woden and Brandon for West Belconnen. We've got a quick break in play here. And John, just take us through yesterday's results.
So, as I said earlier, Tuggeranong Bushrangers beating Yas Magpies 42-4. So, Tuggeranong really asserting themselves at the top of the table there. Queanbeyan Kangaroos 18 defeated Goulburn Workers Bulldogs 16, and the Queanbeyan Blues had a 25-all draw with the Gungahlin Bulls.
And that 25-all draw, again, I don't think I've ever seen, well, certainly not since the days of the 4-point try anyway, a 25-all draw. Maybe back in the 70s, but yeah, certainly been a long time since I've seen two matching numbers like that on the scoreboard. Now, Woden picked up the ball from the scrum here, and that was Michael Gilmore taking it forward for them, double-checking that line. That is the 20 that he's just gone across in there, and now they're set up right across the paddock. If they got it out overlap, they do have a little bit of an overlap if they can spin it out about 5 wide from the ruck. Let's see how far they go. Well, they just give it to Jeff Morgan, who runs it up inside the 10 now, pushed back a couple of metres, and then he pushes forward a couple of metres as he finally goes to ground. They come across to the right, and it'll be with Sean Maloney, and now I think that's Withers who's been brought to ground underneath the pile. So we'll just wait for tackle from Ron Leapai, with Ron Leapai holding the ball. He's down to the ground. John Croyder, we'll catch up with you a bit later on. I know you've got to go and get your snaps, so we'll see you crawling around out there on the field at various stages. The ball's gone into the end goal area. It's been dropped by the West Belconnen Warriors fullback. It's been knocked on. 6 again, says the ref, and try time. You got some homework there, John, because there were so many players involved in that. I reckon it's going to take us a few minutes to work out who may have actually scored that one. We'll see if someone from the home side can pick it, but, well, you've got to take advantage of the ball when it's presented to you. And that has been presented to the Woden Valley Rams on a plate. And they score early, just 2.5 minutes into this game. They've got a 4-0 lead. Conspicuous silence from the ground announcer means he's having just as much trouble as we are. And what can you say when the guy who watches the players and knows every one of them personally can't tell you who it was who scored the try? Costly error in the in-goal area for the West Belconnen side to start things off this afternoon. You may have heard, following that try, a bit of didgeridoo going. Or you may have spotted the Indigenous clapping sticks being used as the Woden side made their way onto the field. Of course, we're heading into NAIDOC week, and great to see the Canberra Raiders Cup competition, the Ospreys Canberra Raiders Cup competition teams paying tribute to Indigenous people and Indigenous culture. The conversion successful, and after 4 minutes, it's 4 blot.
After 4 minutes, scores now Rams 4, Westies 0.
And even the ground announcer can't tell us who scored. The home team ground announcer unable to give us the details. I can tell you it was Lincoln Withers with the conversion. How about that? So 6-0 after 5, or after 4, and the restart comes. Spencer had to dive in underneath it and just got to it. It was, and he gets out to the 20 now. And we saw Woden start like an express train last week against Yass, but they took the foot off the pedal about 20 minutes in. Their defence was good, and they were able to actually shut down Yass, scoring for quite some time. Yass weren't able to bridge the gap and finished up a fairly close game. But I don't know if they'll necessarily get away with that same sort of style of play against this West Belconnen Warriors side. Very potent attacking side. Interestingly, though, Woden sit 5th on the ladder. They are plus 97 in points differential. The West Belconnen Warriors sit equal first, and they are plus 92. So, a little oddity in the Canberra Raiders Cup. Tyson Hodge takes Woden into opposition territory. They go with Morgan. He's over the 40. So Woden looking good at this stage. I like that Withers to Maloney combination. It's really quite impressive. He seems to be getting better week on week. Now Hodge. That's the 30 that he gets up and over. This might see a player pushed into touch, but he tries to get the pass away late. It might be Gilmore over that far side who had it. He's pushed over the line into touch, and so the West Belconnen Warriors will get the scrum feed. As we know in the modern game of rugby league, that means they'll more than likely get the ball. So they'll get their first real chance to do some damage. It will take a bit of time for them to do so because they'll be coming out from about 15 metres out from their own line. Just running through those lineups for you. For West Belconnen, the fullback is Ryan McQueen. The wingers are Jackson Duffy in 2 and Matthew Campbell in 5. Taniela Moa and Thomas Riley the centres. The 5'8's Harry Brown. You can spot him very easily wearing the white headgear. Brandon Withers the halfback. Across the front row it's Shaw in 8, Roberts in 9, Killick Moran in 10, Litzter and Lockhead the second row. That's Dustin Litzter, and Tim Middleton is the lock. I'll give you the Rams 1 through 13 in just a moment, as we'll let the Warriors bring the ball forward, picked up and dumped unceremoniously. And now it goes to big Livingston Affa. Got a good sense of humour, that man. Had a bit of a joke at my expense at Kipax a couple of weeks ago. Harry Brown getting involved in the play now. Just a little short pass there. Last tackle. There's the call. So got out of their own halfway, but they'll get out of their own halfway in just a moment, because they've been given on the last tackle a penalty. Now the referee, Tyson Flynn, saying they've got to, well, they'd elected to tap as opposed to kicking for touch, which is interesting. They do have some kicking issues, this West Belconnen side. We spotted that in previous weeks. Well, they've got Matthew Campbell, the winger, who is a goal kicker. They did have another player lining up to take the goal kicking duties on for them, but they We've had a number of injuries. I'll give you some of the players who are out for him in a second as we see Dan Killick-Moran take the ball up to the 20. And they're really on the go here. That's a tackle and a trip and a lost ball, and it's all go, go, go. And now Dane Spencer's picked it up, gets out and around, and he's finally tackled, and there's a whistle from the referee. So we're going to play the knock-on. We're going to come back and play the knock-on here because Woden have had no real advantage from playing on. And the scrum will pack about 15 out from their own line. This Woden Rams side, it's Dane Spencer at fullback. Referee saying just back up a little bit. Cody Hodge and Ash Vivilli are the wingers today. Ash Vivilli, his full name, apologies if I get this wrong, but I believe it's Patello Vaka Vivilli. They call him Ash, so we'll go with that. Michael Geiger and Josh Feeney are the centres. Sean Maloney 5'8", and Lincoln Withers is the halfback, the former Raider. Ron Leapai in the 8 jersey on the front row, Lucas the hooker, and Tyson Hodge is the other prop. Brad Martin and Michael Gilmore the second rowers, and Jeff Morgan is the lock for the Woden Valley Rams in this Osbrokers Canberra Raiders Cup round 13 clash. Withers gets the penalty kick out over the sideline, and this will be an interesting test here for the Rams to see what they can do starting from the 40. First run goes to Martin, and he takes it up to the 30. They're across to the left with Hodge. Hodge straightens up, brought down just before the 20, so they're making plenty of metres at the moment, but it gets a little bit harder when you get inside the 20, as we all know. Withers, Maloney, questionable pass from mine to Gilmore, but it's going to be a try, isn't it, if he can get the ball down? He's over the line. Tyson Flynn says he's been pushed back into the field of play and is not able to get the ball down. So from zero range, Leapai, Ron Leapai now. That's the 5 metre line. From yesterday's rugby union game, Withers puts the ball on the inside, finds Morgan. Morgan can't get to the line, but again, they're just short. Last tackle. Desperate defence from West Belconnen. There's numbers out wide if Woden can use them, but they go for the kick instead, and it's picked up by Ryan McQueen. McQueen spins out of the first, spins out of the second, and is brought to ground on the 10 metre line. So good defence from West Belconnen. Not sure what the last tackle option from the Rams, but they do hold a 6-0 lead. 10 minutes into this one here on Bar TV this afternoon. Moa, big Taniela Moa, gets Woden out of their own red zone up to the 30. They are making moves fairly quickly. I'm not sure who that is for West Belconnen. Maybe Litster down the bottom, but very hard to tell. He was wrapped up very quickly. Now it's with Livingston Affa. Geez, brain's not working very well today at the moment. Just over the halfway line. Last tackle again. Kick is high. Waiting to get underneath it is Vivilli. Well, Vivilli lets it bounce, and it's bounced away from him. This could turn into something very, very special because it'll be West Belconnen. They could run a raffle to get it. Brandon Withers. It's the number 7 comes up for the try. He's checking with the touch judge. Nothing wrong with it because it wasn't. I don't think a Woden player laid a hand on that. The kick came downfield. Vivilli let it bounce. I won't put all the blame on him. It was a bit short for him. Spencer was there as well. It was short for him, so it was a very clever kick. And then a lucky bounce, sending the ball back into the arms of the Warriors, and they were just coming up en masse. It was almost like that scene at the start of Gladiator. When Russell Crowe goes unleash hell, it was like that. The West Belconnen Warriors were coming down, and they caught Woden on the hop, caught him napping. And Brandon Withers gets a try. Gives himself a fairly easy conversion as well. So he's the man taking over the kicking duties for this afternoon. Taking his time. I do like this ground. I love watching rugby league at this ground. The grandstand is well designed. That's a pretty ordinary kick. Seen plenty of ordinary kicks actually lately, not just in the Canberra Raiders Cup, seen a few in the NRL. And some of the other sports have been doing calling for as well.
Belconnen, the Rams still lead 6 points to 4.
Withers unable to convert his own try, but after 13 minutes, it's 6-4 to the Woden Valley Rams. Kickoff is a little bit shallow. Harry Brown misjudged it slightly and just had to try and anchor his feet to take it. And then you saw Ryan McQueen getting involved as well. Sent the long ball on the outside. Not afraid to throw it around. I think it was Jackson Duffy who wound up being tackled with the ball. Now the Warriors, they get up outside their 20. And now they make it up over the 40. So Duffy involved again. Once again, it's Affa. And, well, he's done himself no favours in there, has Affa. He's held the ball and he's tried to treat the opposition like speed bumps. Misjudged it, and the ball has come loose. So, a little bit sloppy there from the West Belconnen Warriors side after one of the better tries you'll see in terms of spectacle. Some pretty ordinary football there. So Woden onto the attack again. That's with Morgan. They're up inside the 40 already. The referee's starting to call this West Belconnen side back. While he was looking the other way, calling them back, there was a bit of lying down in the tackle going on. Ty Hodge to the 30. They've got numbers to the right. Withers. Now it finds Brad Martin. Martin looked to pass but was wrapped up too quickly in the tackle. Fast play the ball. Ball goes out wide. It gets to Michael Geiger. Geiger just short of the line. Last tackle again. A couple of long balls will be interesting. They go the fast way with the long ball with the kick across field from Withers. And I reckon it's Cody Hodge over on the far side who's got it and put it down. Well, it's an afternoon for the spectacular here at Woden. After the first try for them came off a West Belconnen Warriors error, we've seen a spectacular kick and bounce retrieval for the West Belconnen Warriors, and now a crossfield kick from Lincoln Withers finds Cody Hodge, and it's 10-4. Big buddy, Woden Valley over the West Belconnen Warriors. Pinpoint accuracy on the kick. I'm not sure which of the West Belconnen Warriors players it was that it went past as the last man. There was just that moment of horror, more in the body language than anything else, as he realised that the ball was going to go past him and Cody Hodge was closing in on it at speed. I'd spotted it in the play the ball in the lead up to that tackle. It was the last tackle play. I'd spotted that they had the extra numbers on the far side. I thought it was going to be a couple of long balls. Withers was also awake to it. And you reckon that's something they've practiced a few times? I think it just might be. Conversion successful. Withers is 2 from 2 with the boot this afternoon. And it's now 12-4.
Cornwall Community Bank. Score is now Rams 10, Western 4.
Good conditions for rugby league here. The ground actually possibly a little bit hard even. See some puffs of dust in the centre of it, which is odd. I thought we had a few showers earlier in the week, but maybe the ground just drained very well, or maybe it didn't rain over the south side. I live on the other side of Canberra. Certainly got some wet stuff at my place during the course of the week. But it should lend itself to some good footy this afternoon, and we've certainly seen plenty of skills here on display already. 3 Warriors in that tackle. They pick up the Rams player and dump him flat on his back. He's okay. Leopold gets left out. They give it instead to Hodge, Tyson Hodge. There are 2 Hodges out there this afternoon. They both play for the Rams. One's in the forwards and one's in the backs. Now Lincoln Withers. He finds Brad Martin, and Martin is up to the 40-metre line. The fans are trying to sway the referee and get a penalty out of him. No dice. Instead, it's Morgan, just short of halfway. The last tackle, and the kick comes. Lucas was flattened after he kicked. West Belconnen Warriors, they've got a little bit better field position than they've had for the start of this set. They're just outside the 30 with Ryan McQueen. And they're on their way through with Matt Campbell. He's up to the 40. And then over to the right. So back in the middle, you can see what I was talking about there. That area, we're normally in the middle of winter in Canberra, that kind of ground would be just mud. But it is bare dirt and very, very hard to land on there. So we don't want to get dumped too hard on that part of the ground. They're into attack now, into opposition territory go the West Belconnen Warriors. Dan Killick-Moran, that was the 5th. So this is the last. Brown with it, puts the kick through, doesn't get the kick through. It rebounds off the legs of Michael Gilmore, and he retrieves it just outside the 30. And the Rams, they'll be off quickly here if they can be. Hodge makes another 10, and then loses the ball. Now, what's he going to call this? He's going to say, "You've lost it cold." Cody Hodge, not terribly happy about it. So the scrum feed will go to the West Belconnen Warriors. So a heap at stake this afternoon. We'll look at those scenarios a bit later on, perhaps if we get time during the course of this game. Taniela Moa, the big centre for the West Belconnen Warriors with that run. He's one of their more impressive players. It's been a funny old season for West Belconnen. They're sitting 8-2. They've had some really, really scrappy games. They haven't been able to do much with it. It was short on the previous run through. Now that's Ryan McQueen. That's the 3rd time this afternoon I think we've seen him spin full of a full 360 degrees to get out of or avoid a tackle. Brown again puts the ball back on his outside. Didn't fool the Rams defence, who were ready for it. Now they've got at speed Tim Middleton. Middleton juggles. I think it's been bounced off a Woden player. So Middleton, his first grade game for 2018, by the way. Unable to make any further advantage of that. We've got a debutant this afternoon, and I'm just wondering whether he's going to make his way out. I saw the interchange official with a card in his hand, but I didn't see who the player was who was getting set to come out. The debut there for Woden Valley, it's number 14, Dan Desmay is his name. Now, he's a member of this last year's under-18 premiership side for Woden, and I think he's the 5th player from that under-18 side to make his first grade debut this year. He's played 9 games in reserve grade, just the one try, or 2 tries actually, and 1 goal in reserve grade for Dan Desmay, and we'll see him out there a wee bit later on this afternoon. And there's a debut for the West Belconnen Warriors as well in Destiny Kalolo in number 15, so you'll get to see him a bit later on as well. 9 games and 2 tries in reserve grade for him as well. So a couple of young players coming through the ranks here, and it was Tom Robertson who was being warmed up to come on, and he's now made his way onto the field in jersey 15 for Woden. So the Rams up at the 30 in attacking territory again there. Riley Thomas, a little bit of hop and hands in the air like you just don't care, to get out of the way and allow the play the ball to go. I think that's Tyson Hodge with that tackle. He's the last. This is the last. Kick comes through from Morgan, but again it's picked up by the opposition. So that's 2 kicks this afternoon, 1 for each team. We've seen into the legs of an opposition player. This time though, Bailey Lockhead does a better job picking it up, and he gets it out to the 30. Now Matthew Campbell goes across field. Steals a couple of metres forward, but largely sideways motion. And he's lost the ball in the tackle again. Gee, there's a bit of that going on this afternoon. And I've got to say, not the first time I've seen this from West Belconnen, where they've had a bit of lost ball. There's been plenty of it from them during the course of this season, and I know it's been a big frustration for their coach, Troy Thompson. Fraser Harvey getting set to come on for the West Belconnen Warriors. You'll see him on in number 17 shortly. Withers off the scrum. Then finds Geiger. You'll notice Geiger's got his leg strapped there. Last week he went off fairly early in the game up at Yass. More details on that a bit later on. Morgan takes the ball to just short of the 20. Withers again. Ignores Leapai. Ignores Robertson. Had plenty of other people on his outside. He's really making this West Belconnen defence run from side to side. Robertson backing up towards the line. And he's still pushing. And he's right up to the goalposts. They go to the left. Withers kicks through, this time for his own advantage. It might be too strong. It'll be too strong because it's given a helping hand over the back line by Riley Thomas. So as I was saying about Michael Geiger, he has some strapping on his leg. And I'm assuming that this strapping is relating to last week. He left the ground fairly early against Yass. And the way he left the ground was almost as though he'd torn his hamstring completely in half. As it turns out, it was just some tightness, probably accentuated by the fact that it was very, very cold at Yass last week, and he was erring on the side of safety. Ron Leapai with the return of the goal line dropout for Woden. So they've had most of the possession here. 25 minutes gone. They lead 12-4. I think West Belconnen have only really had 2 attacking opportunities. They've got to try off one of them. Robertson again. So he's been busy since he came on a couple of minutes ago for the Rams. Withers again ignores a couple. Finds Maloney. Maloney onto Spencer. Spencer still going inside the 10. He's stopped there. They continue working it to the left. Maloney has taken that from Withers and he's looking to see if he can get to the line. He's just out of reach. Hangs on to the ball. They'll come back to the right now. It's with Withers. Lincoln Withers. Now Ron Leapai. They've got an overlap. Withers on the outside. Martin. Wrapped up. So West Belconnen doing the right thing. Getting up in speed and in numbers. And on the last tackle, Woden unable to do anything other than hand it over. And having seen the Lincoln Withers show, we now go to the Brandon Withers show. He's on the play of the ball as the West Belconnen Warriors try to get the ball out from their own 10. It's Fraser Harvey on that run, and this time it's Bailey Lockhead. So they not quite to their 20. Now Harry Brown has it. Jackson Duffy brought to ground. They go back across to the left. So Jacob Graham's out there now as well in the 14 jersey. He was in a dummy half a moment ago. That's Litster in the 11 now, getting up to the 40. They'll bring him down eventually. I've actually got to say I've liked the look of the Warriors a lot more when they've had Jacob Graham in at dummy half. Just seems to provide a little bit more spark and ask a few more questions of the opposition defence. With plays like that where he's not afraid to turn it around and he gives it to Harry Brown. Now that's been tapped down. It's been picked up off the ground then by Jackson Duffy. Duffy's offloaded on the outside and found Riley Thomas, and Thomas gets inside the 20 because it was touched. They've got a full set here. They're aware of that. Thomas didn't do anything silly. Now it's with McQueen and he's lost the ball in there. Just the tiniest of knock-ons. Oh, jeez. It's probably a good thing we're not watching this game being played at Kipax, because at Kipax we have Troy Thompson, the West Belconnen Warriors coach, right next to our commentary position. And he's not backward about coming forward, but sometimes we do have to close the window to keep the program its G rating. If the other end of the grandstand falls down here at Phillip later on this afternoon, you'll know why. A very frustrated man. That's a big hit from Fraser Harvey. And in fact, it's a high hit as well. Referee's taken a moment there. He might have got a call from one of his touchies to alert him to that. It was Cody Hodge was the player who was tackled. I didn't see any appealing for a penalty. Didn't see anyone asking, and I certainly didn't see players staying down. Woden will get a bit of a chance here as they start just short of halfway. Started to make a few changes now. That was Junior Mawala with the hair sitting up on top of his head. And now we've got another high tackle. Is it? Oh, no, he's got a forward pass. To say, I didn't see a high tackle. I only caught a fraction of the referee's signal there. Had a player from my angle, which is slightly different from the camera. Had a player obscuring my view for a second. I thought, where did he pull that from? But no, everyone's coming in for a scrum. So we're all good. Brandon Withers feeds the scrum. And Jacob Graham picks it up from the base of the scrum. Fraser Harvey, who's been busy since coming on, gets them up over the 40-metre line. Across to the left they go. Killick Moran involved in the play. Lockhead was waiting for it, but it only got as far as Mitch Shaw. Sloppy play the ball, but the referee has already said he's made a call there. He's sending a water boy off. Yes, welcome to the world according to Tyson Flinchy. It happens every week, and I know there are some people who run a book on it at some grounds as to how long it'll take for him to do it. So if you're playing that game at home, 29 minutes it took this afternoon. West Belconnen on the way forward through Fraser Harvey. Now they come across to Brandon Withers. Withers ignores a couple. He gives it to Ryan McQueen. And Ryan McQueen, well, he didn't want it. He's put it to ground, but the referees found something in there. And a quick tap and go now from Jacob Graham. I did say he had some uncertainty of the attack here for the Warriors. Yeah, he can't get up. Oh, this will be a penalty in a second. This is getting ridiculous. Brad Martin and Jacob Graham lying all over each other. I'm not sure who that is actually for the Warriors in there, but they send the ball back through the back line now with Withers. Withers turns around, pops it out the back door, finds Harvey. Fraser Harvey is on the flat of his back, and he is held up. Well, the ball is held up. He's allowed to lie on the ground, and they'll come back to the 10-metre line. Just trying to work out who it was who made that big run for West Belconnen before. I think it may have been Destiny Kalolo. He's out there now in the 15. That's Brown, and it's been put down by Dustin Lidster. Picked up by Woden, and they'll get it out to the 20, so we won't get a scrum here. This will be play on. And a couple of highlights, but the game not reaching a consistent level at the moment. Jeff Morgan pops the ball out the back, finds Cody Hodge. And Cody Hodge playing a lot more up the middle of the park than on the wing where he's actually listed as a starter. Tom Robertson. Robertson gets out of the first tackle, runs at the West Belconnen line for a second time and keeps on going, takes 2 or 3 with him. And then he's pushed back a couple of metres as the energy runs out in the tackle. There's Maloney in there. Ball's gone to ground. I think it's been knocked forward by the Warriors. And Jacob Graham has, well, I tell you what, he'd get a game for Richmond playing with a kick like that at the moment. So there was a little knock on in there. He kicked it away in disgust, frustration, call it what you will. The referee wasn't terribly thrilled about it. And so Woden get a penalty. With 8.5 remaining in the first half, they only lead by 8. I suppose it's not how, it's how many. But here is a really good chance. They've had a couple of goes from about 20 metres out. Taking some time to get a game ball in. Josh Feeney takes the tap and goes himself and makes 11 metres. He's picked up and then slammed to the ground. They don't take him past the horizontal. It's all good. Feeney plays the ball, and it's Mawala. So we've got Moa and Mawala in this afternoon on opposing sides. Now Robertson. We've got Robertson on opposite sides. We've got Withers and Withers on opposite sides, and 2 Hodges on the one side. You ever think this commentary gig's easy? Maloney, Withers, Martin. Martin goes for the run. He's about 7 metres out. Referee shielding his eyes from the sun. Now it's with Morgan. Morgan just short of the line. So the West Belconnen defence is good on the last tackle, but is it good enough? I reckon it might be. He's just short, referee says. A handover. And you can see how close that was to a try. West Belconnen play it right under their own posts. Well, their defence has been good. Their attack's been up and down. West Belconnen with their defence has certainly been better. That was Ryan McQueen bringing the ball out to the 10. And you've got to get up eventually, although, gee, we've seen a couple where there's been players lying on for longer that haven't been given, so all very odd. Harry Brown with the touch finder. Doesn't get too far for them, only just about to the 20. And now it's Lockhead. Bailey Lockhead up over the 30. 35 metres from his own line. What's left? 7 minutes till the break. Shaw. And now the Warriors are into opposition territory again. That was Kololo again on that previous tackle. They can't. Just struggling to actually complete the tackle. There's the debutant, comes in and does precisely that. Dan Desmay, welcome to first grade. Good tackle on Jacob Graham. First time I've called Desmay's name this afternoon. Welcome to the Osbrokers Canberra Raiders Cup, young man. Brandon Withers puts the ball a mile in the air. Dane Spencer flies, Aussie rules style, takes it high above the crowd and lands and is tackled on the 20. Once again, Hodge. That's Cody Hodge. It is. And he's actually put Jacob Graham to ground. Graham slow to get back on side here. They're working it around the short side, the Woden Valley Rams, and this is Brad Martin. He's had a lot of hit-ups in this first half. I think they'll go left. They won't chance the blind side again. Morgan. Ball onto a teammate, popped out to Maloney at the back from Robertson. It was. Maloney did well to hang on to that, I think. This is the last, and this time the kicking option is with Jeff Morgan. It goes to Ryan McQueen. Ryan McQueen takes it in the in-goal area. Five to go in the first half. That was Matthew Campbell. Now Lockhead. I reckon the game's stepped up a gear in the last 5 minutes. Oh, you heard that from up here. I don't know if their microphones picked it up, but I heard the air from several lungs expelled in the collision. That's what rugby league's all about. They've got 4-on-2 on the near side. You get to one of those four in Lockhead. Woden managed to get a couple across in cover. Come across to the right with Harvey again. Harvey's one of the players who had all the air zapped out of his lungs in that big collision before. He's got his breath back. Now it's Harry Brown with a kick. That might have come off the side of his boot. I don't think he necessarily intended to put it there. Josh Feeney from the Rams allows it to bounce and over the sideline. 4 minutes and 5 remaining. We'll come back in 20 metres from the touchline, and the scrum will go down. It'll be the Rams to pack. The Rams to feed. The Rams want to. The Warriors a little bit slower in there. No one really keen to go head to head. There we go. We have a scrum. Withers finds Desmay. Desmay? Oh, no, it's actually Martin in there. Apologies. That's Martin with the left knee taped, and a little bit of laying down, says the referee. Bailey Lockhead shakes his head. Not me, sir. It's been the other bloke, Riley Thomas. There's a little shake of the head from him as well. Withers was going to kick it to this side, changed his mind, went to the other side. It was Hobson's choice, really. He was right in the middle of the park. Did well, actually, to make some meterage out of that. And so the Rams, once again, they start a set inside West Belconnen territory. They've had the better of this game territorial. I suspect they've had better of it in possession terms as well. They just haven't been able to score. That was Moala, and that's the 30-metre line that he's on. They come to the right. Morgan, Jeff Morgan, still going and still going. That's the 20. That's Maloney. Maloney taken a little high by Shaw. Now, when I say taken a little high, it was unusual. It was almost as though he grabbed him by the ears. That's how it looked from up here. Referee's gone in for a bit of a chat. And will this be a penalty? And if it is a penalty, it'll be what? They'll be about 12 metres out with 2.5 remaining. Clock stopped with 2:27 left on it, so just bear that in mind. Our on-screen clock here at Bar TV, not official, just indicative for you as to how long since the game began. And with 2:27 remaining, clock restarts. I hope the clock restarts. It's actually not going yet. This is going to get interesting. We'll keep an eye on my watch at this point. It still isn't going. This is Junior Moala, and the clock's finally started. So somewhere in here, let's hope there isn't a try in the last 2 seconds of this first half, because there'll be all sorts of confusion. They may not need to go to the last 2 minutes, because I think there's a try for the Rams here. Referees checking both sides. I reckon it's Michael Gilmore who's got it. But that really should see us just about through to half-time. Fairly close to it. I'll just await confirmation of the try scorer. They go out to a 16-4 break, with a kick still to come for the home side. It's a fairly decent start for them this afternoon, as they look to really close the gap on the sides above them. And also, as John Croyter mentioned, the side that they were sharing 5th place with, the Queanbeyan Blues, yesterday had a draw. So this will enable the Rams to get a 1-point advantage of them over them on the competition table. Withers taking his time, clock's down to 50 seconds. And he's gone 3 from 3 with the boot this afternoon, has Lincoln Withers.
Going to try number 12, Michael Gilmore, sponsored by the Hellenic Club.
And we have confirmation that it was indeed Michael Gilmore with the try for the Rams. And with half-time looming large, there'll be just enough time really for the kick-off and Woden to get maybe 1 or 2 tackles, but that'll be about it. So 18 points to 4, the score at the break, you would imagine, barring something odd. That was Moala. He's taken on the 20. Bit of push and shove, and the Rams will just run it one more time with that try scorer, Gilmore. There's the bell, rings to signify the half-time break. The oranges to be handed out. It is the equal 5th place side leading the equal 1st place side in this match of the round in the Osbreakers Canberra Raiders Cup for this afternoon. It is 18 points to 4, Woden over the West Belconnen Warriors. We'll have the second half for you soon here on Bar TV. West Belconnen Warriors keen to get the second half underway here at Phillip Oval this afternoon. They're the first side out after the break. They were the first side out at the start of the day as well. They've got a bit of work to do here. They trail by 18 points to 4. Woden still in the sheds at the moment. Plenty of conversation going on there. We are getting to that point of the game. We are getting to that point of the game where the season, I should say, where wins really do become crucial. How crucial? Well, for Woden, given other results this weekend, they went into this round in equal 5th. If they win, they will move to 4th after yesterday's results, because the Magpies didn't register any points, and the Blues had a draw yesterday, so a Rams win this afternoon will be 17 points on the table, and that will put them into outright 4th. If they lose, they drop to 6th and find themselves off the pace. 1 point outside the... Actually, I think it'll be more than 1 point outside, but they'll have 2 sides ahead of them on 16. So they're on 15 at the moment. For the West Belconnen Warriors, it's not quite as critical for them, but they'd like to win, because they get a share, or they keep a share of top spot. They'll be second on for and against. It's something like 70 points, the advantage that Tuggeranong have over West Belconnen atop the table. If they were to lose this afternoon, they will still hold on to second place, but the Queanbeyan Kangaroos will be just 1 point adrift from them. So that's your equations this afternoon as to the impact of this final fixture in round 13 in the Osbreakers Canberra Raiders Cup. Now, this is starting to get a little bit ridiculous here. One of the touch judges has just gone over and called the Rams out of the sheds. You'll notice the shadow of the grandstand has started to creep across the park now. As play goes to the right, you'll see plenty of the ground in shades. Very cool in the shade, very pleasant in the sun. I can tell you it's very cool in the shade, though, because I've lost all the sun that I was getting earlier in the afternoon. Definitely cooled down here. I don't know if we cracked it into double digits this afternoon. But I know that there was some wind around earlier today, so the apparent temperature, even at about 2 o'clock this afternoon, was only about, or 1 o'clock this afternoon, was only about 3 degrees. Officially it was about 9 or 10. The wind has dropped away. It's a pretty good afternoon for footy as the Woden Valley Rams kick off to start the second half. They're running from right to left in this second period, and they have a 14-point cushion. Will it be enough? Will they add to it? They didn't score a point from memory in the second half last week against Yass. Just dig that up and double check that that was indeed how it finished up. Yeah, they didn't score in the second half. They won at 14-12, having led 14-0 after 24 minutes last week. Might be a different story against the West Belconnen Warriors, though. Jacob Graham stays out there at dummy half and hooker to start the second half. That was Bailey Lockhead on the run. That's Graham. Now Brandon Withers. And that, I think, is Taniela Moa. They're over the halfway line already. Wasn't Moa, it's Kalola. Gee, they're similar in build. Kick over on the last tackle towards the touchline. It's been taken by Jackson Duffy, but I think he's allowed a foot into touch. There is a whistle. There was a notification from the touchy for just a moment. So it'll be a Woden Valley Rams ball. Rams might just breathe a sigh of relief there. Last time I saw West Belconnen, up in Kippax a couple of weeks ago, actually, there was they had a try. The try line was absolutely wide open against Queanbeyan, and they absolutely butchered one. We have had a really interesting season. I don't think I've seen yet West Belconnen play a good game, and I've seen them. I reckon this is the 5th time I've seen West Belconnen this season, and I'm yet to see them play a game that I would deem premiership team worthy. But here they are with a for and against of, 92 going into this game, sitting equal first on the ladder. So I guess they've been the Jekyll and Hyde side of the Canberra Raiders Cup. Woden, after a couple of years in the wilderness, they're really looking to surge into the finals, but they will need to defend right now. Brown to Riley Thomas rather. Thomas takes the ball inside the 30 after that scrum. So a good set here, and the Warriors might be able to apply some scoreboard pressure. That was Harvey. Now across to the left, Brandon Withers. Further afield to McQueen. McQueen could have potentially popped that on the outside, and I reckon Matthew Campbell may have been a chance, but McQueen was already set to go forward. But had to change plans mid-stride. Bailey Lockhead with the headband. Takes it to a couple of metres out of the line. He slowed up in the play of the ball. They sent it a long way back to Brown. Brown across to McQueen. McQueen now finds Thomas. Thomas runs back inside. Had Jackson Duffy outside, but Duffy was probably covered. But they're back to the 10-metre line on the last tackle. So good D from the Rams to start the second half. As the ball comes across to the right, it was Litster and Duffy. And Duffy can't advance, and he's brought down, and the faithful from the Woden Valley Club. There's plenty of them here this afternoon, by the way. The faithful give a round of applause to that defensive effort. The Rams will try and bring it out from their own line now. I mentioned when we were in Yass last week, I mentioned a function that the Yass side had coming up. I should give this a mention for the Woden Western Rams fundraising dinner is happening. It's coming up on Saturday the 28th of July if you're in or near Canberra. Should be a fun night. Starts at about 6:30. It'll be at the Hellenic Club. 2-course meal. The tucker's really good at the Hellenic Club, I can tell you. And it's in support of the Under-16s New Zealand Cultural Tour for 2018. So if you want to help out, you can find out more by getting, just look up the Woden Western Rams. We'll get in touch with the Hellenic Club. I'm sure they'd be able to give you some details as well. That's the 28th of July, 6:30 till late. The big fundraising dinner. Oh, crunch! Matthew Campbell put to ground. Now Ryan McQueen on a run for the West Belconnen side. So plenty of club events happening, and please, if I'm calling a game for your club on Bar TV, make sure when I'm at the ground, make sure you pop us the details. I'm more than happy to give club events a mention on our coverage each week through Bar TV. A little scurrying run from Jacob Graham. I'm really impressed with him. I'm yet to see him play a bad game. He got a man of the match from us earlier in the season versus Tuggeranong at Greenway. He was a standout player in a very scrappy game of rugby league. He was head and shoulders above the rest, even though he was the smallest man on the field. Kick over the top comes from Brandon Withers. Underneath it is Spencer. And Spencer now goes up over the 10, up over the 20, brought to ground 25 out from his own line. Woden building a platform every single time they get the ball. They're making distance. It's very much reminiscent to my mind of the Raiders game last night, where the Bulldogs are making distance all over the place. Felt little good it did them in the end. We saw a good run from Vavilli. Now we're getting into the forwards with Gilmore taking it up to halfway. Now it's with Lincoln Withers. Withers kicks downfield. Ryan McQueen has picked it up on the 20. Tries to evade the tackle of Withers. Withers gets a helping hand from, it might have been Desmay in there to help him. It was. He goes to ground. Sorry, the obligatory Woden Valley Rams supporters calls, I've get them on side, have been a bit late arriving, but I just heard 3 or 4 people in short success, and not just making the call, but making a bit of noise about it and arguing the toss about how he could do it. Taniela Moa, that is, for the West Belconnen Warriors. He's tackled right on the halfway line. Now it's Withers. Withers finds Killick Moran, and Killick Moran gets the Warriors into the Rams' half of the field. Long ball coming up. No, it goes instead to Mitch Shaw, who just uses himself as a battering ram, runs straight at Junior Moala and a couple of teammates. For the last tackle, the kick will come from Brown. Brown puts it over the top, and it's taken by Cody Hodge. And Cody Hodge, he's pushed off Jackson Duffy and then runs straight into Thomas, and he goes to ground. Oh, it's eventually Duffy who has to make the tackle. So good secondary effort, but they're out to the 30 on the first, and again, it's a good platform for them to build on. And as Josh Feeney gets the ball, the Warriors were up very, very quickly. for the second tackle. So not as easy for them to escape. But speaking of escaping, it was Tom Robertson. And see the distance that he made. It's been a thing about this Canberra Raiders Cup competition this year. That's Withers. Withers loses the ball forward as he was hit as he went to pass. Had a player flying past him and then another player coming through to pick it up, but was all to naught because Withers was put to ground. But it's been a real theme in the Canberra Raiders Cup this year. Missed tackles and players making huge amounts of ground. Seen plenty of it this year. Fast footy. You may notice that on referee Tyson Flynn's chest as we get the clock stopped at 31:55, because I think it's Withers who's actually been injured in that big hit. He's gone to flat on his back. I'll just go back to talking about Tyson Flynn, the referee. You may spot it out there. He's actually got a GoPro strapped to his chest. I'm not sure what that is going to be used for. I know it's officially there from the Canberra Raiders Cup people, so hopefully we'll get some footage edited down and you'll see it on the website in the not too distant future of ref's eye view of some of the Canberra Raiders Cup matches. We don't have the capacity to beam it in live, unfortunately, but certainly be something different on some of the highlights to come. That was Jackson Duffy, so he's worked across to the other side of the field now, getting very, very busy, the winger on this side. And now Matthew Campbell at dummy half. He finds Moa. Lockhead. Still going. Takes the ground. 10 metres into the Rams' half. And mostly West Belconnen this half. Killick Moran had the ball. That's gone out the back. It's been picked up by Joe Roberts, but I think there's been a whistle in there. I didn't hear it, but I think there was one. So if we're not careful, a free-flowing game of football might break out here, but at the moment, players not necessarily doing themselves too many favours. Another scrum. This will be a Woden Valley scrum feed. A small flock of green birds has just landed on the field on the 40-metre line at the other end. They're going to take off in a real hurry in a moment because there's going to be players coming towards them. Oh, maybe not. Oh no, there they go. They've taken off at speed, and Lockhead, no, not Lockhead, Gilmore has drawn a penalty at the other end. Now Withers, he's still got a trainer with him, has Lincoln Withers. Just wondering whether he's okay, because it was a pretty nasty hit before. Well, he's tough, he's staying out there. He's kicked that straight towards me. That's going to fall just short of us here in the commentary box. Bounces around off the top of the canteen and will be retrieved. Also doing some modification work on the ground PA here. He's knocking one of the speakers almost off its pillar. Let's get back to the play as Jeff Morgan is into the attack for the Rams. He takes it inside the 30-metre line. Now it's Robertson. Robertson finds Leapai, and there's a gap for just a moment, but it closes. They're into the red zone. Lucas at dummy half. Through the hands of Robertson. Then on to Martin. And then in the flashy boots on the far. Oh, we'll come back in a minute because we've got nearly a try. He's had the ball stripped from him. Multiple players in the tackle, so it'll be a penalty. Still can't get the ball back. They've got it, so they'll come back to the 10 again. Now, 14-point break. There's some discussion. Do they take the 2? Do they go for the try? They're going to go for the try. Robertson's still going. So he's just short of the line. Lucas has looked both ways. He goes across to the right, finds a running player on the way through. He's dived through, and it might be Geiger. It is Geiger. set play for the Rams, I suspect. I think that one's probably been practiced a few times because Geiger came through very, very low. Dived, grabbed, scored, try time. They go past the 20 mark. 22 points to 4, 12 gone, second half. Nice way to celebrate his 50th game. Michael Geiger gets a meat pie, and that's his 5th for the season. Wonder if they'll let him convert it himself. No. He'll be with us to do the conversion. I don't say that facetiously about Geiger, by the way. He's got 7 goals so far this season. In fact, they've got so many goal kickers, this Rams side. You've got Withers has got 3 this afternoon. And this one's fairly easy for his 4th if he gets it. That'll give him 20 for the season if he gets this one. Geiger's kicked 7. Leapie's 13. Morgan's converted 6. Desmai's got 1 in reserve grade. He's got that one, has Withers. So that's his 4th. 24 to 4.
Try to the Rams, Michael Geiger. Sponsored by Club Line.
Now, I mentioned earlier some of the players. Did I mention the players who were out for the Warriors? If I didn't, I'll go through it now. They're missing Tavita Aroha Twinavai. He's got a head injury, so he's out for a week. A head knock, rather, last week, so he's out for probably just 1 game, maybe 2. Tim Sloman's overseas for them. Harry Watman is done for the season. That's a bit of a blow for them. He's a good player, Harry Watman. He's got a shoulder injury. Ricky Fullervai was out several weeks ago, injured with a knee, and he'll be gone as well. And Matt Kelly is missing too. He was the player I was trying to think of before who was going to take on the goal kicking duties for the West Belconnen Warriors, as we see the Rams put the ball down. So it'll be a Warriors scrum in just a moment. But the Rams, it's not like the Rams are at full strength. Cleve McGee's gone. He's transferred up to somewhere in Sydney, I think. In one of the Sydney Metropolitan comps, and that's a real blow. He's been one of their stars for the last couple of seasons. Great player to watch, Cleve McGee. So he's moved on. Kev Vato is not in today. Neither is Steve Ferry. And last week's man of the match, I mentioned him because I think he's one of the real bright stars for this Woden Valley Rams club for the years to come. He's only played 2 games, scored 2 tries, both of them last week against Yass. One of them was a real highlight too. He's off playing schoolboys rugby league this week, so neither of these sides at full strength. Now that's Brandon Withers. He's given the ball to Lockhead. It's part and parcel of the season in the Canberra Raiders Cup. You've got to have the depth. You've got to be able to cover it when your players get called up for rep footy or for injuries. Harry Brown pops the ball back to Killick Moran. He's tried to get it out the back, and I think somewhere along the line that's got to be a knock on. It must have gone forward in there somewhere, and it has, so it'll be back out to the 10-metre line for the scrum to go down, and it'll be the Rams to get the ball. They've got a 20-point lead and 25 minutes to defend it for. We did see last night in that Raiders game, that was the new gold standard for late comebacks, I think, the Raiders last night. Got to confess, I was calling it for Mix 106.3 here in Canberra, and I'd written them off completely. I think just about everybody had. You don't score 18 points in the last 6 minutes very often, and that's what they did last night. 3 tries. I think it was 5 minutes and 33 seconds to score 3 tries and win that by 4 last night at Belmore. But that's the new gold standard. So you can't just say, 3 tries with 10 minutes to go, you're safe. Maybe not. That's Dane Spencer. He's had a lot of the ball, but I just don't know if he's had as much of an impact on the game as he usually does. Another water boy being addressed by the referee, and he's going to stand out over the dead ball line in the naughty corner. Well, it's not really a corner, but over the naughty line. Let's go with that. Morgan brings it up for the Rams. That's the 20. So they're not making huge inroads this set. Leapai only makes 5, and this is the last tackle, so they need a good kick. It comes from Lucas. He's got it over the head. It's bounced back. That's a second one like that this afternoon, and Ryan McQueen's lost that ball forward. It's been picked up by the Rams. Desperation tackle. Ball comes back to Vivilli. They've got a full set here from just outside the 10. It's Withers. They come across to the left. Morgan. He's inside the 10. He gets an offload. He finds Spencer. I said he hasn't done much this afternoon. He nearly gets a try. He's wrapped up now. That's the try line. You can see it just in front of him. Lucas across to the left, finds Maloney. Maloney bounces out of the tackle, runs backwards, then runs forwards. Back towards the post, he's still going. It takes 3 of them to put him to ground. Where's the gap in the line? There's one over the far side and there's one right on the wing here. If long ball this side would be dangerous. They go the other way. Withers, dummies, bounces out of a tackle again. He's put back to ground on the 10. West Belconnen know they need to hold out here. 20 points, you can still do it. 26 you can, but it's a lot harder. Robertson gets an offload. Ball bounces around on the ground for Morgan. Jeff Morgan runs behind a couple of his own players. Now he gets up to the 10. Get ready. It's going to be a long ball to the left coming up here, I think. I've seen plenty of players signalling it across. That's Martin. Withers telegraphed this. Did the Warriors notice it? Let's see. He's looking. He's got Hodge way over this side. He's done it once this afternoon. Can they do it a second time? Ball in the air. Goes to ground. Picked up. And a magnificent try in the corner. I reckon it's Spencer who's got it. He's grabbed the ball. He must have had an earpiece in. He must have been listening to the Bar TV commentary. I said he's done very little this afternoon, and now he's got one for the highlight reel. Watch that one over and over. Dane Spencer, one of the tries of the year here this afternoon at Phillip. And that might just about put it in the bag for the Rams. They're 28-4 in front. I am amazed that they got away with that, because it wasn't just Lincoln Withers who telegraphed that it was coming to the left. He put his hand up to say it was coming out wide to the left, and I reckon 3 of his teammates put the hand up as well. And it seems that nobody from the Warriors noticed it and saw the signal had been given. They did cover Hodge as soon as the kick was made. There was cover, but there wasn't enough cover because Hodge wasn't on his own. And Spencer picking it up on the rebound. Try of the day. And I appreciate we had a freaky one for Brandon Withers for West Belconnen earlier, but that one for mine, well worth watching. Sideline conversion attempt. He's flubbed the kick a little bit, but he's still got it. And he knows it. Look on his face. He knew. So we're at the 59th minute. Jeez, I tell you, I'm more and more impressed by that try the more I replay it in my mind. I'm going to have another look at it later on, but yeah, certainly try of the day, and it'll go close to try of the year, I reckon.
Spencer, sponsored by the Mawson Club. Rams now lead 30 points to 4.
Oh, 26 points the margin, 20 minutes and change remaining. The Warriors have a lot to do, and I think perhaps they've just been shown up a little bit here. It was only a matter of time, really. The number of games they've played where they've played fast and loose with possession, dropped plenty, knocked plenty on, and made just basic mistakes. It was only eventually going to be a matter of time before some side really found them out this season, and it may just be the Woden Valley Rams who've done it. It could be a wake-up call for them as we see a good run from Joe Roberts. That was quite something that we've seen from the Rams here this afternoon. They are making every post a winner. Scoring them in all sorts of ways too. You've had Michael Gilmore barge over from close range. You've had Michael Geiger dive through on a set play. Now Dane Spencer flying in the corner. Don't forget the earlier one, the crossfield kick from Withers to Cody Hodge. The variety in this Woden side, and they're just looking better and better each week. They may just upset a few more apple carts before the end of this season. But they've got to now put sides to the sword. That's the other thing. They've got to keep working on this for and against. I know they're 97 plus in their for and against, but they need to get that well on the other side of 100 because it's pretty congested around 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th on the table. Now, what have the Warriors got here? They're inside the 20. It was McQueen with a dummy. Gets through the line, but he's brought to ground on the last tackle. Here it comes. Brown kicks through. There's plenty of Rams there. Tapped back by Dane Spencer. And then Spencer gets onto it again and makes sure it does go dead. So it'll come back out for the line dropout. I know the Rams have done okay on a few occasions this year, but this is certainly the best I've seen them play. And if they get this, geez, well, that'll be 4 wins and a draw, so 5 wins and a draw since their bye. That's a good run. Ryan McQueen fields the line dropout, and he gets back to the 30. The Warriors, just not sure where they're going to go. At the moment, they go for Shaw, and Shaw takes the ball to the 20. Midfield, they've stacked the right, and they come that way with Middleton. Now across to the left with McQueen. McQueen looks over, finds Thomas, and Thomas is brought down on the 10. He had Moa on his outside, couldn't get the ball to him. Lockhead. See the line, last tackle. And again it's Brown. Brown scurries for the post, and he's just cut down like a big tree at the hands of an axeman. Bonus points for you this afternoon if you can name the country rugby league side, which is nicknamed the Axemen. I'll give that a bit later on, let you ever think about it. Russell Crowe had an involvement with them as a sponsor for a while, I believe. That might give away too much about where they're located. That was a good tackle, though. Now, let's get back to the game at hand. They're on the way forward again, this Rams side. Gee, they are playing with supreme confidence at the moment. They're making every post a winner. Referees let the game go this afternoon. There's been a couple of times where I reckon other referees would have been a lot more hasty with the whistle. He's let it go this afternoon, and I don't mind that. There's been nothing really untoward about the lying in the tackle. There's been maybe 2 that he's let go a little bit too long, but all in all, it's been a pretty good effort from Tyson Flynn this afternoon. As we see Thomas in there, balls come free. He said it's been given a helping hand. Tyson Flynn, so they've got the penalty. Now Flynn says to everyone, get back, even to the players who are 20 metres away on the other side from where the ball's going to be kicked and kicked into touch. Well, they need to score, and they need to score a lot. The West Belconnen side. What have they got? Well, they've got Brown. Then they've got Dan Killick-Moran. Killick-Moran still going. In and under. Now they come back to the left. And it's with Tim Middleton again. Brown again. Trying to do it all himself. Up to the 20. Now a scurry from dummy half from Joe Roberts. Roberts gets to Litster. Litster tries to offload out the back door in the tackle. Now Woden is still pushing and pushing and pushing, and they finally bring him to ground. And the ball's come free in there. I thought it might have snuck out for a moment, and it had. Litster hangs his head. This has not been an afternoon that the West Belconnen Warriors are going to want to think about too much for quite some time. We're into the last 15 minutes here. They've got 1 try on the board, the West Belconnen Warriors, and I think really you can say that first one, while it required the skill to chase up the kick, there was probably more than 50% luck involved in that one, because the kick came downfield, if you remember it. It came downfield and then bounced back towards the kicker, and Withers chased it up and scored, and then made a complete hash of the conversion. Otherwise, it has really been all the Rams all the time this afternoon. Just looking at Michael Geiger. He's got plenty of strapping on that leg. that he had the hamstring tightness in last week. He did seem to be limping a minute ago, but he's okay again now, so maybe it was just he copped a bump there and it was a little bit annoying to him. Anyway, they're back on the way. The Rams side. Just keeping an eye on this Warriors side. Just see what they're doing in defence at the moment. It's all fairly standard stuff for them. And, well, that's going to be a problem because they've gone up, overcommitted on the inside. It was Gilmore with the kick, and he was brought down after the kick and has been picked up by Riley Thomas. Thomas turns around, he's over the 10, over the 20, he's up to the 30, and then, well, yeah, that was the equivalent of what you see in those police movies, isn't it? Where the bad guy runs into an alley and suddenly realises that there's no way out, it's a brick wall at the end, because that's what Riley Thomas was confronted with, a big yellow and blue wall. Now we've got clock stopped at 13:09 to go. A couple of players, including Ash Favilli from the Rams, get a bit of attention. So we get back underway from just outside the 30, and Bailey Lockhead goes for a run. By the way, we have finally had confirmation of who got the first try of the day. It's finally come through to us. It was Michael Gilmore, so he's actually got a double this afternoon. Just if you are keeping your own notes at home and wondering. So Michael Gilmore, 2 tries this afternoon. Spencer, Cody Hodge, Michael Geiger with 1 apiece. That's the 5 for the Rams, and it's been 5 conversions from Withers, Lincoln. And for the West Belconnen Warriors, it was a try to Withers, Brandon, and he's 0 for 1 with the boot, and that's it. Now Brown, with the kick on the last tackle, goes high. Spencer underneath it, flies, takes it well. Gets outside the 10. We'll have a little bit of going through the motions here, but it's very important for the Rams they don't let in this West Belconnen side. They need to make this a statement win. Last week they were a bit shaky. They got home against Yass, but this is a chance really against a legit top 2 side to say, yeah, we're coming for you when we get into August for finals time. Hodge slammed to the ground. That's Cody Hodge slammed to the ground by Harry Brown. And Harry Brown, for a little man, gee, he makes some big tackles. And he's in on another one there, and I reckon it was Gilmore he's got again. It was. They're going to kick it and clear it here. The Rams, that's not such a bad idea. For West Belconnen, there's a couple of players there. It was McQueen and Campbell. McQueen got it. Campbell was with him. Campbell will probably come into dummy half on this because he was over the other side. McQueen's been flattened, and he doesn't look well. Using the ball to get up, and then he goes straight back to the turf. So he's really unwell, is McQueen. That was Taniela Moa taking the ball up over the 40-metre line. McQueen's still down on his haunches. Middleton, he's found support on his outside. Was it Shaw that he got it to? No, it was the other front row. It was Killick Moran. That's Shaw there. Shaw, well, the Woden players climbed him like a ladder and then tried to unscrew the light bulb, and that was his head. Litster taking it further forward for West Belconnen. They're up to the 20, but it's the last tackle. They're just not getting an opportunity, and they're still down to 12 here with Ryan McQueen in all sorts of bother back at the other end of the field. Now Brown's been flattened here, and the referee will blow time off. I think he'll blow time off. I'm just waiting to see here. Oh, McQueen's finally up. He spent a good minute with the trainer. He's coming up, walking up into the line. Riley Thomas actually pointed it out to the referee, but the referee's looked around and said, well, he's up now. Well, the Rams, I won't say they've been clinical, but they've certainly been very, very efficient in what they've done this afternoon. What I really like about this side at the moment is that they have found different avenues to score their tries. It's been kicking tries, there's been set plays. They've done it with a couple of their better players missing as well. So we're into the last 10. It was Roberts, and he's popped it over. It's not Roberts, it was Lucas. He popped it over to Morgan. Now Lucas goes for a run himself, tries to kick to his own advantage, but it's taken by Riley Thomas, and Thomas has lost the ball, and there has been taken by the Rams, by Vavilli, but the referee saying it was stripped in there. Probably a fair call. There were a few players involved in the tackle. It's getting very, very cold here. The sun's disappeared behind a bank of cloud off to the west. It's dropped by another couple of degrees. It'll probably only be about 5 here, maybe 6. It's going to be a cold night here in the nation's capital. The celebrations are going to be fairly warm for the Rams. Shaw for the Warriors, still going. Gets it around, finds Middleton. John Croyter from the Canberra Raiders Cup making his way back up to the grandstand. We might start a bit of late match analysis shortly, because I can't see 5 tries being scored in 8 minutes. That would be some sort of comeback. As the Warriors go to the left with Lockhead. Lockhead into the red zone. And he's about 12 out, far side of the ground. Across to the right they go with McQueen. McQueen, he gets it on to Dan Killick-Moran. Killick-Moran is, well, he was almost there, but too many Rams jerseys holding him up. Little kick comes through. The Warriors will get the ball back courtesy of a line dropout here in just a moment. 30 points to 4 the score here. 8 minutes remaining, and John Croyter from the Canberra Raiders Cups come up for a bit of a chat now, which is good, John, because it's nice to add a little bit of perspective into these games when they get a little bit one-sided. I don't think anyone's going to be surprised that the Rams have won this. They've been in really good form. But I think the size and the... I wasn't going to say... I said earlier I would say clinical, but let's say the dispassionate and cold way they've done this. They've really just come out and they've been very workmanlike this afternoon. Yeah,
exactly, and that's something that we haven't seen from the Rams. We didn't see that last year.
No.
They definitely weren't working. They had that potential, but they have been quite ruthless the way they've gone about it today. I think the score does reflect the gap between the two sides today, and they've just had a lot of energy in defence, and you can see the Warriors are really starting to run out of gas because they've been on the back foot for a long time.
I would even go as far, I said this earlier, that the West Belconnen try, the only one they've had so far this afternoon. We'll just stay with us for a moment as we see them on the charge once again. Where are they? About a metre short, signalling to the left. Long ball, and almost an intercept, and it would have been off to the races there. That was, that would have been a 90-metre try in there. The try for West Belconnen also had more than 50% luck for mine, the way that it was kicked downfield and then Withers ran up and it had bounced back to him. So really, you could argue that they're lucky to have even 4 on the board this afternoon. Yeah,
their halves just haven't looked like setting anything up. Their kicking game has been pretty poor. They've always kicked short, and even then, most of those kicks haven't come off. So I think it'll be interesting to see what happens. Obviously, at the moment, we've got Riley Thomas playing fullback for them. I don't think I can see McQueen on the field there.
No, well, he got flattened a few minutes ago, got absolutely smashed, and spent a good 60 seconds in the hand of the trainer while the attack continued. Thomas actually went over to the referee and said, can we have time off here? But he timed it pretty badly, because at that point McQueen had actually gotten up and was walking up and was going to go and play on the wing on the other side, but I think they've decided the better option at this stage with this game well and truly done was to actually give him a break, and now this will be Withers coming off as well. He's had a couple of big hits on him this afternoon.
With the Rams, I do feel like their season rests with Withers. He's been that good. He missed, so the first game of the season he picked up an injury and he was out till round 8. I think they won 1 game in that period. So a lot of the good work in attack that they do has been coming through Withers, and Maloney's played off of him really well, but I wouldn't say Maloney's a dominant half. He's not that organiser that Withers is. He gets a rousing reception there from the fans.
He's given the thumbs up and he's smiling, so I think this is just, he's had a couple of big hits and it's precautionary. It's, let's not let something silly happen and put him out for the rest of the season here. Ball goes wide for the West Belconnen Warriors, out to Duffy. Duffy pops it back on the inside. But the referee, who was going to go the length of the field? There would have been Gilmore. It would have been a hat-trick for him if he'd got there, but I didn't see what the referee's signal was because I had to peer through an obstructed view. Did you see what the call was there from Tyson? Or your view's similar to mine, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's might even be a little worse.
Yeah, okay. So we won't worry about what it was for, but we'll say that the Rams got the penalty and they're they're going to try and get to double digits. Brown with it, has options, gets it on the outside, finds Thomas, and Thomas puts it to Jackson Duffy. And well, how many times have we seen that from West Belconnen, not just today but this season, where they've had tries available to them and they've just managed to put the ball down and absolutely butcher them.
Yeah, there was a try there.
There was a try, yeah. Would have been. Instead, it'll be a scrum. And you can tell it's a one-sided one. You can tell it's getting cool out there now because the players are in really no hurry to get to this scrum. They're happy to let a good 30 seconds run off the clock. So Woden will have sole possession of fourth spot after today.
Yep, and well deserved as well. Like, I did think maybe about a month ago that they weren't in contention for top four. They've been on a fantastic run and they've been beating the big teams to get there.
We'll go to the future draw and see who they've got coming up next week in a moment. I know that we're at Sears Oval next week, Sears Workwear Oval next week for our Austbrokers Canberra Raiders Cup match of the round. We'll give you some more details of that in a moment. As we see big Junior Moala, he's come in there. Push and shove, he adds something to this side too. And they've got an extra number on the left, can't get the ball out there. Gilmore's had a blinder this afternoon. He's had a really good game. And
I'd say he's probably
be
one of the best second rows in the comp.
Well, yeah, he'd have to be the
if not the best.
I was going to say, if he's not the best, he's right up there. Oh, that's a bit of bravery shown by Matthew Campbell there. And he's picked up the penalty because the referees said that at least one of those Woden players was in front of the kicker. So the Warriors send the ball way downfield. What have we got? 4 minutes remaining. It's been the longest scoreless period in the entire game. Last score was 17 minutes ago.
So it's interesting to see McQueen's back out there playing in the halves. Thomas fullback.
Let's try something different now and see what's out there, because you're not going to win this one. So it's the chance to make that experiment.
Yeah, and we've got Withers out in the centres as well. So I think that's quite telling for Duffy. If McQueen hasn't been fullback, Duffy's been fullback throughout this season, but Thomas there at the moment.
Bailey Lockhead for the Warriors in towards the posts.
I actually think he's had a pretty decent game.
He's had a good game. There's a couple of these Warriors players who've had good games. McQueen's actually had a pretty decent game until he got crunched, and now it will be a length of the field try, you'd imagine, because they've just been tapped away. Geiger had a man on his inside, but Tim Middleton put up the big hand and knocked the ball away. I thought it was going to be out of his reach, and now we've got a clash, and Middleton's gone down. And while that's working itself out, let's go to next week. We've got Belconnen United up against Gungahlin, so that's a game we don't need to worry too much about, you would imagine.
Yeah, it'd be very interesting to see what happens in that game, though, because the Sharks have been pretty good, and obviously both sides have gotten draws against the Queanbeyan Blues over the last fortnight. So I think that'll actually be pretty decent.
Hang on, sorry, did I thought I just saw the referee put his hands up and... No, he was just telling people to get out of his way. Sorry, I just caught that in my peripheral vision. Sorry about that, John.
That's all right. As I was saying, I think that will be a very interesting game. It won't affect any of the final series at all, but still, it could be quite a good game, that one. And then we've also got...
we've got three games, three absolute classics in the on the way, and it's I don't envy the decision about which one to go to for our match of the day next week, but it will be the Queanbeyan Roos versus the Yass Magpies out there at Sears Workwear Oval, so I'll make sure I pack the sunnies for that one. But that'll be a great game of itself there, with those two sides now on the fringes of the 4, and that result in that game as the ball gets put down by Ryan McQueen. To a huge round of applause here. That game's going to have massive impact on how the Final 4 will shape up, not just for those teams, but for other teams around them.
Yeah, exactly. I think the Roos would be hoping to keep out of the drama. So far, they've done pretty well. They've been in the top 4 consistently throughout the year, but they've kind of avoided a lot of that drama that the other clubs around them have been getting. So I kind of see them in a similar situation to the Bush Rangers. I feel like they're kind of bubbling away nicely, and they'll be looking to put another good performance on the board. Yass coming off 2 losses. They'll want to be turning that around because their season could slip away quite quickly if they don't get a win soon.
Well, indeed, and so that is third. It'll be third versus probably 6th, I think, because I think the Blues have probably overtaken the Magpies.
Yep.
But it's a third versus equal 5th, and only a handful of points separating, well, 1 point separating 4th, 5th, and 6th. So a crucial game there. Then we get into. I think this is going to be a fascinating game as well. The Rams versus the Blues back here at Phillip next weekend.
I think if there's one side you don't want to face when you're going in off a 5-game winless streak, it'll probably be the Rams. It's the perfect opportunity for them to turn their season around. If they get a result against Woden, you could say that they're back. But it's a big if.
Well, which Blues are going to turn up next week? That's the question.
They've got their entire backline pretty much out, which is a big loss as well. So they've had that kick going dead. No.
Well taken by Thomas as he gets it back into the field of play.
But yeah, there's only, in terms of the starting back line that they had from the start of the season, I can't think of too many that are still in that side. I think that most of them are out injured. Larry Manu, haven't seen him for a few weeks. Tyler Stevens was injured this week. Missios gone for the season. Wheeler gone for the season.
So that's 4th versus 5th, and the other game next weekend is the top of the table clash up at Kippax. West Belconnen versus the Tuggeranong Bushies.
Another big game.
So with 3 games involving sides in the top 6 next week, we will be back next week to bring you the action from Sears Workwear Oval in Queanbeyan. That's Saturday afternoon, a 3 o'clock game, the Queanbeyan Kangaroos up against the Yass Magpies. But here at Phillip this afternoon, it has been absolutely one-sided, and the Woden Valley Rams have come out and they've stuck their flag in the sand and said, yeah, we're here and we're here to be reckoned with. They've won 30 points to 4 over I think the Warriors would have gone in as favourites, not as big favourites, but they've certainly, it's a bit of an upset in terms of who's won the game, but it's a big upset in terms of the score.
Exactly. Great performance by the Rams. Been very impressed, as I said before, with Link Withers. He's been outstanding for them. And they just showed so much energy, and they're deserved winners. They deserve to win, and they deserve to win by the margin that they've done by.
For the Warriors, their sole points coming via a try to Brandon Withers. For the Rams, tries to Dane Spencer, Cody Hodge, Michael Geiger, and a double to Michael Gilmore this afternoon. He started the scoring and had a good try as well. He barged over from close range. We've seen a potential try of the season here this afternoon as well, courtesy of Dane Spencer. And Lincoln Withers has gone 5 from 5 with the boot. There aren't too many downsides for that Woden Valley Rams side out of today.
Exactly. Dane Spencer's been very good at the back, very good under the high ball. He looks a bit awkward at times. He makes the mundane very, very interesting, but he does it well, and that try was outstanding.
Certainly one of the best ones I've seen in quite some time. Not much else we need to bring you here this afternoon. The sun's getting very low in the sky. It is cooling down here, but the rugby league's been hot. And the Woden Valley Rams come over. They thank their fans for turning up here at Phillip Oval. We thank you for tuning in wherever you have been around the country or around the world. We'll do it all again next Saturday afternoon from Sears Workwear Oval. John Croyder, thank you.
Thank you very much, Chris.
And on behalf of everyone at the Ospreakers, Canberra Raiders Cup and Bar TV, signing off from Phillip Oval this afternoon, where the Woden Valley Rams have run out victorious 30 points to 4. I'm Chris Coleman. Have a good week.